and I'd like to thank each and every one of you, Mary, and this wonderful church for allowing me this privilege to speak this afternoon. And it truly is a privilege to be in this Spiritualist church as this one. When I first walked up the stairs, I was just amazed, and I stood in awe of this beautiful little church. And it has much tradition behind it. And my subject for this afternoon is none other it should be appropriate with your name, your beautiful name, Corinthian. So you know where I'm going to go from there. And it would be 1 Corinthians chapter 12, because this is a time in our lives where we celebrated just recently the birth of Jesus. And soon we will be going into the Easter holiday and the time of resurrection. And in the idle hours of winter, it's a beautiful time for unfoldment and development and being at one with God. And each of us is blessed with gifts beyond our comprehension, but it takes time to understand and nurture these gifts. So now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. Ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led. Wherefore I give you to understand that no man speaking by the Spirit of God calleth Jesus accursed, and that no man can say that Jesus is the Lord, but by the Holy Ghost. Now there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit. And there are differences of administrations, but the same Lord. And there are diversities of operations, but it is the same God, which worketh in all. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit with all. And in this age, I like to say to every man, woman, and child, because truly the gifts are within us as children. Can you hear me back there? Okay. As children, when we see Spirit, and how many times have you heard that story about the parents saying, "Oh, you're just imagining this. Suppress that. Don't tell anyone." But yet that child left to be becomes that great medium, that seer, that prophet. But in the prophecies and the gifts come in many forms and shapes. Many times we admire the mediums and the ability to channel, and we give them our most undivided attention. But you know, the greatest mediums are not up here all the time. The greatest mediums are among each and every one of you, with the gifts that are dormant within. If you call out and listen to that still small voice, I have found it in my meditations, and if I have a problem, I take it to God. And for each problem, doesn't it seem like there are at least 2 or 3 solutions to that problem, or interpretations like Jesus, who spoke in the parables? I'd like to go on with these gifts and the meaning of it. As we look, we see many empty places in the pews this afternoon. But I look optimistic. I see a full house. I see many, many spirits here this afternoon that are with you. And the chairs, the pews in this little church can rise again and be filled again. But it takes each and every one of us. The Spiritualist church is like a pillar upon a cornerstone. I say one pillar, one cornerstone. That cornerstone being that religion, that of God and of Jesus the Christ, based upon those teachings. The pillar is the philosophy and science on which we build. And we look, well, what do we have? One pillar and one cornerstone. What can we do with that? Well, with that philosophy, with the religion and the science combined, the other pillars are the people that make up the church, the faith, the believers, and from their teachings and their gifts, faith through its works. That is what it is all about. We can unfold our gifts in many ways. How many of you have been told in messages that you have the gift of poetry or painting or this or that? It's true, and you should continue with that. And I encourage you to unfold each and every gift. My goal in my life is to help each and every spiritualist church that would ask for my help, and encourage and inspire people to go on with their gifts. Not to put them aside, but to sit regularly in your meditations and watch them unfold. How many times have you sat there in the silence and seen the lights around you? Don't be bashful. If you've seen those spirit lights, raise your hands. See what I mean? We've had that acknowledgement right there that we're never alone. And this church has more meaning than we realize. This is truly the greatest investment of our lives. More so than the homes that we build, the savings that we strive for. Because as spiritualists, we are also scientists and philosophers as well. Think about it. How will we be able to channel when we all graduate to that final expression in life? And I believe that we should encourage our young through these doors. Give them inspiration and give them an opportunity to learn to see for themselves, so that we can help unfold a new generation and new generations of mediums, because we can't take our life savings with us. We can't take our homes and all the things we have accumulated. I have never heard of pockets and shrouds yet, and never will. But it is of God that we look to for that inspiration and that guidance. And we'll never be alone. We may feel like we're tested, but truly, when we stand the test of time, we'll see the truth of God. A beautiful poem that goes with this is, "Should you go first and I remain to walk this road alone, I'll live in memory's garden, dear, with the happy days we've known. In summer when the rose is red and fade the lilac blue. In autumn when the brown leaves fall, I'll catch a glimpse of you. Should you go first and I remain to finish with this scroll, no lengthening shadows will creep in to make our life seem droll. We've known so much of happiness, we've had our cup of joy, and memory is one gift of God that death cannot destroy. Should you go first and I remain, one thing I'll have you do. Walk slowly down that long, lone path, for soon I'll follow you. I want to know each step you take, that I might take the same. For someday down that long, lone path, you'll hear me call your name. Yes, you'll hear me call your name." In life itself, we try to do the best we can for as long as we can. And with the guidance of God, we truly can. Nothing can be better than the classes and the unfoldment and the mediumship. And thank heaven and thank God for this beautiful little church that is in the city of Jackson, lone by itself, but strong to the ages. As I look at it, and I look at the dedication around here and the love that's put into it, I praise God, and I thank you for this opportunity to invite me here. It is truly a privilege. This little church means so much, and it has a great legacy yet to fulfill. For the many young mediums yet to come through here, for the peace and comfort. I am proud to be a spiritualist, and I have had many great debates with many ministers of other faiths, and I vowed I will not be the one who succumbs to this, but instead plant a seed. I believe in planting seeds everywhere. I have seen the atheist turn to God, the agnostic, the disbeliever. I have seen ministers of other faiths come in and become our organists or our servers in healing chairs. It's never too late. And as like Emanuel Swedenborg himself, to become a medium, when did he become a medium first? In the 60s, 70s? It's never too late. And I encourage you to reach for the stars. When I mentioned that pillar, it takes the rest of the people to make that circle. But in spiritualism, we do things a little bit different than many faiths. We don't put a roof on our little building here, philosophically speaking anyway. What we look to is the stars in the heavens, ceilings unlimited. I have learned great research through the meditation room and direct contact. Somebody told me in a prophecy many years ago, you were going to write books. And I looked and I laughed like, myself? No. And here I am writing books on healing, mediumship, and helping others and students along the way. And I feel that's part of our cause too. We are, each of us, maybe students of divinity, myself included, and those that have been in many more years. But we are also teachers of what we have. Even if we've never been upon this pulpit, we have much experience and knowledge to share with one another. We've experienced our own sets of hardships and losses, our joys and inspirations. Each of us really can write a book about our own life, and it could be fascinating. But to share these things with one another, I think, is the greatest thing. And to give to this little church, keep this little church alive. I feel like I love this church, and I've only met you once, and you've made me feel so welcome. And I expected some more people to come from Mason, Michigan, and some other friends to come from Toledo, but they had a little problem this morning with getting here. But I won't make any excuses. I'm here, and I'm proud and I'm thankful to be here. I'd like to say in spiritualism, it gives us many opportunities that we've never had before. Many opportunities to focus on new ideas and thoughts. And in your meditations, I'll tell you right now, I feel the greatest teacher are many times not the one that are standing before you, but the greatest teachers are yourselves in meditation. And I encourage you to keep that going in the privacy of your own homes or in groups. We sit every night for our healing seances and our materialization seances all rolled into one. And if you'd like, before I leave, I'd like you to place the names of your friends and loved ones and family members upon that list, and I'll have Reverend Ann call them out during our seances so that we can send healing to and help to. Because that's what it's all about, isn't it, folks? Giving. Isn't it strange that princes and kings and clowns that caper in sawdust rings and common people like you and me are builders for eternity? Each is given a bag with the shapeless mass, a book of rules, and each must take, ere life is flown, a stumbling block or a stepping stone. So with that shapeless mass and that bag of tools, and each of us working together, just think what can happen. Just think what can happen. I feel right now that this little church is going to grow again. I feel these pews are going to be filled. I have that feeling, and I have that joy and that inspiration. Let's see what we can do. I'm going to send everybody I know that's going out in Michigan this way. That's a promise. May God bless each and every one of you. Thank you. It has truly been a privilege to be here and to speak. And I feel the presence of God, Spirit, and the angels all around. Thank you very much.